another edition of Doing It with Dish. I'm in Pictured Rocks National Park right now. Gonna do a 3-day, 2-night hike through the park. Started at Miners Castle, and I'm gonna get out at the campground at 12 Mile Beach. Right now I'm sitting on Miners Beach. Took a little break, gonna get some water. But I got 9 more miles to go before I put up the tent. So I gotta stay moving. Just one of the beautiful spots here on Pictured Rocks. Hiking along here, take in views like this. That's pretty cool. Well, day number 1 has come to an end on the Pictured Rocks National Park hike. Covered about 10 miles today. Got kind of a late start over at Miners Castle, so I had to kind of hump it at about a 10-mile hike to get here to the campground where I had a reservation. But it was a good hike, fairly easy going, and all along the way, just beautiful cliffs. They're so nice to see. I've seen them from the water, and now to see them from the other side, it was really nice. So I'm going to finish the day with a little Talisker 18-year-old. It was a gift for helping on the kitchen project. So I'm going to watch the sunset here on Lake Superior and enjoy a little scotch. Good morning and welcome to day 2. Pictured Rocks National Park hike. Sitting here on Chapel Beach. What a beautiful spot. Got up early this morning. It was still dark. Couldn't sleep anymore. Brought some gear down to the beach. Made coffee, oatmeal this morning. Watched the sun come up against the rocks. Beautiful spot. But I need to get moving. Trappers Lake is the next stop, and that's about 8 miles from here. But I'll have all day to do it, so it won't be so bad. So I'm going to get packed up and get moving. With it being so hot and using so much water, every time I cross the stream, I top off all my canteens. What I have is just a filter bottle. Simple, works. Now if I was really thirsty, knowing the origins of this stream, I wouldn't be afraid to drink out of it, but take a little filter bottle with you. Make sure you're safe. Beautiful white pine growing up on top of it, but the roots for that tree go back to the land, so they're suspended. Just a beautiful spot on the shore here, Chapel Beach. One of the spots you have to see coming to Pictured Rocks. When you're hiking these trails, you're gonna say, man, there's a lot of dead beech trees. That's because of this fungus. It's been in this area for a lot of years, but it attacks the beech trees, makes the bark get all rough and bubbly, and eventually they die. Left Chapel Beach and Chapel Rock this morning. This little point sticks out, and you can see off in the distance, this is a real popular area for the kayakers. And the boat tours that come out of Munising, this is about as far as they go. They go a little further past, turn around, then they slowly make their way back. But if you're into kayaking and want to see all the rock formations up close, get in a kayak. Super way to see it all. Behind me here is Spray Falls. Now you're going to cross that river coming from the west headed east. And you can walk to where that water dumps down the cliff, but you can't see a whole lot. So if you continue east on the trail, there's a little sign, Spray Falls, and you'll come to this little outlook. If you're coming from the other way, you'll get this outlook before you actually cross that little stream. Just another great spot along the Pictured Rocks. After Spray Falls, I said, Dish, you got to put some miles behind you. You got to get to Trappers Lake, set up camp. So I put my head down, and I'm like, I'm not stopping anymore. I'm just going to go. Well, then you see a cave like this, and it's like, squirrel. Drop the pack, had to come up here. But I'm making pretty decent time. I'll be to Trappers Lake in plenty of time. But I am going to stop as soon as we hit 12 Mile Beach and cook a little lunch. So that'll be the next stop. Most people you see on the trail, they're snacking on granola bars, power bars. Now, Dish needs to eat some real food, right? Lunchtime now. They make Spam in these little mini cans. Isn't that cute? Slice this up with some rice. It's gonna be good. What I just did though, getting down onto these rocks, I was gonna go further down the lake, but it was kind of wet. I put 1 foot on that wet stuff and it was like grease. Slid down the rock into the lake. So now my boots, yeah, they're soaked. But I'm all right. Just remember, if it's dry, you're good. If it's a little wet, don't even get on it, because you're probably going to go for a ride like Dish did. Not good. So you're thinking to yourself, Dish, you got that nice Spam. How are you going to cook it? Some of the campgrounds out here, you can't have fires. So just pick up the MSR. It's the Pocket Rocket 2 stove kit. And all it is this little gizmo right here. Screws on top of your fuel bottle. Little control valve, spark it up. You got little legs that support your little pan. So I'm just gonna put a pan on there, cook up some of that Spam and rice. Of course it's gonna be good. set up now. Camp pretty much set. It's time to start thinking about dinner. My plan for tonight, and it's a plan I'm going to try and make happen, is pizza in a pan again. If you remember last time I did it, ice fishing, I had 2 pans. Well, packing this all in your back, 2 pans would just be a luxury. Gonna try and do it with 1 pan. Let's see how it works. Either way, it'll eat fine. But we'll try it and see how it does. So what I got is some Bisquick. Added some water, gonna mix that up and make the dough. And then once that's set to go, put on some sauce, some pepperoni, and some cheese on top. Thinking about trying to flip it. Now without a spatula and only a couple of these, flipping it could be a challenge, but we'll give it a shot. So that dough I had, I let it sit for a while. Now I'm going to try and get it in this pan and make the crust. Now ideally, I would have brought a little oil, put it on the bottom first. So I'm not sure if this is going to burn, stick, I don't know. But I'm going to make a thin crust, and then we'll get the rest of the stuff on there, put it on the heat. Let's see how it does. So the plan is to get this crust kind of made in the pan. Then I'm going to try and flip it, and then I'm going to put the sauce, the cheese, and the pepperoni on. So let's try and get this somewhat cooked anyway. See what happens. So the flipping, it didn't go good. After thinking about it, maybe I should have fried up that pepperoni first, got some grease in that pan, then put the dough in there. So what I'm going to do is finish this one off, eat it, and then I'm going to try another one. I'm not going to give up on this. Okay, I'm going to eat this thing, and yeah, I know, it's backpacking. That's not bad. No, I'm going to make another one, because this isn't going to fill me up. I'm going to fry that pepperoni first, then do the crust, see if that helps. It looks pretty tasty. No, that's actually pretty good. Bisquick crust. So all you need to do is add water to it. Pepperoni on the bottom. Put your dough over the top. Get it cooking good. Then flip it, because then it'll flip because it's cooked. Doesn't stick to the pan. It's got some grease from the pepperoni. The sauce was just purchased in bags. Parmesan cheese. So for backpacking, that's pretty good. Now, is it as good as the pizza at Gravidoni's in Nagani? No, because Cousin Vinny makes a pretty good pie. But for backpacking, this is pretty good stuff. You're hiking along the North Country Trail, which goes all the way through Michigan, Wisconsin. We were on it in the Porkies last year. You come across a car. And of course, everything sitting out here has a story. Not sure what the story is on this one. Just something you don't expect to see in the middle of the forest like this. So when you're out here hiking, they have bear lockers to put your food while you're tenting. And there's warnings about bears, and I was thinking to myself, ain't no bears around here, you know? Then I'm walking along the beach here. Little bear tracks right next to it. Coyote tracks. So there are a few bear around. Coyotes, of course. But I never saw anything. I never saw a deer. The only thing I saw on this whole trip were grouse and chipmunks. But there's a few around. That's the end of the trip. It's all over. A couple things I want to talk about is the trees and the terrain you're going to be hiking through. As you start here at Miners Castle, that first stretch is a lot of maples. And you'll go through that for quite a ways, and then that transitions into beech trees. And then once you go through the beech trees, you transition over to more of a hemlock. And then as you get towards 12 Mile Beach, it becomes sandier. You get into the white pines, red pines. And then after Trappers Lake, you're back into those beautiful hemlocks. Then at that point, what I did is I jumped down onto the beach. I spend a lot of time in the woods, but I don't spend a lot of time on the shores of Lake Superior. So I finished off the hike, the last 3-4 miles, just by hiking along the beach. Water was beautiful. So I'll talk a little bit about the bathroom facilities on the trail. They aren't much. There are a few outhouses, but the smell is so bad. Bring a little shovel, take care of your stuff off the trail somewhere and bury it. And if you want to use those outhouses, you better be able to hold your breath for a long time. They really are that bad. Now, how long do you hike during the day? When you plan your stays at different campgrounds, how long are you going to hike? What I did was about that 9-10 miles a day, and that's a pretty good hike with a full pack. If you like to stop, spend time at different sites, probably that 5 to 7 miles a day is more realistic. And I think the next time I do it, that's probably what I'll plan, is that 5 to 7 miles. Pushing 9-10 starts to get long. But if you like to push it and you're just there to hike, that 10 to 12 miles is definitely doable. Something to remember as you get towards fall is you start losing daylight. So early summer, midsummer, there's plenty of daylight. Towards fall, like it is now, into September, you start to lose some daylight. Something to remember when you're hiking down off the trail and you want to get closer to the water where there's rocks and stuff, take off your pack, set it up there. You have such better stability without that pack on your back, especially if you're going down rocks and stuff. You don't need to trip or fall or something on them rocks with that pack on. It's not good. I hope you enjoyed the video. Pictured Rocks National Park. I sure enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more videos. And until next time, thanks for watching.